Hello, I'm just enjoying a beer after some successful test flights of my latest creation. This is a foam board and polystyrene XPS mix here, and it's one of those KFM, Klein-Fogelman, I think, modified airfoils, and this one I think you would call a kfm2 because it just has this single step from here to here. And I made this with 5mm foam board, the stuff we get in New Zealand. Unfortunately it's heavier and tougher though, which is good, than the Adams foam board that the flight test guys use. And yeah, so that's 5mm, and then I cut this to about 18mm or so there. And just stuck that on, sanded that off, put some packing tape on there, dug a little hole for the servos. The foam board I actually exported this as a 2D plan form from another plane that I've designed in OpenVSP. So we may yet see something like this made with, fiberglass and like sanding the slices. But for now, I just wanted a very quick test bed that I could put together to test how well drag rudder works for a tailless flying wing. So as you can see, there are no vertical stabilizers on this one anymore. As you'll see in the video later, I started with some attached here just to make sure that the plane would fly okay without doing that fancy stuff there, and that worked. Basically everything worked okay. So anyway, the test was to make a proof of concept for this, or one use case of this thing. So this is I'm still calling this the S-Bus mixer because that's how it started out and I haven't thought of a better name, but anyway, it's a test to see that it can do this kind of stuff. And it was pretty much a given that it would work, so I wasn't surprised that it went so well. Yesterday there were a few issues caused by not using this receiver. I had one that basically didn't have any antennas at all, and that didn't go too well, as you'll see in a minute. Anyway, I think I'll just play you the rest of the video, and that will cover everything. I will just summarize here, though, at the beginning. I am surprised at how well these KFM, well, this one anyway, this really, really basic airfoil flies, because there's nothing on the back. It's just a flat sheet of foam board with a bit of wood there for reinforcement. And that's it. So yeah, if you want to build a quick and easy, simple plane, that's the way to go, isn't it? Oh, just one more thing first. I've left a link in the description to the plan for this that you would print out onto A4 paper to make this yourself. You need 2 sheets of 30 by 20 inch foam board. But if anybody does do that, one important thing to keep in mind is that you can't just leave this piece at the full 18mm thickness all the way down. So if we look along here, we'll see that I've actually sanded this thin so it's almost nothing at the wingtip. I have a feeling it wouldn't work too well if you left it at the full 18mm thickness all the way out to here. But if you try that, let me know how it goes. And this is about the trim that I've ended up with on the surfaces. You'll probably want to start with something like that. That's a good start. Okay, so it's extremely tail heavy. Didn't really change the CG much, but I put some lead in the nose. Okay, super pitchy, but it's flying pretty nicely actually, if I could just get the pitch under control. Hell yeah. I'm rather shocked actually. Whoops. Not sure what happened there. See if I can land it. Oh, it just suddenly was really nice, and then all of a sudden something happened. More nose weight. Let's see what this does. Okay, I'm going to switch on gyro. Hell yeah. By the way, the reason I'm doing this in the dark is because, well, almost dark, is because I was busy earlier in the day, and we've got 3 days of rain and storms coming. Look at this though. And also, I'm not very good at getting up early in the morning, which is the only other time today when it wasn't windy. Let's see if I can glide here. Hell yeah, I like this. I can see why people like these KFM planes. Oh, you know what that was? The receiver I had on there didn't have any antennas on it. It says damaged. Okay, I haven't seen the plane yet, but I can tell from where all these goats are looking that it's down there. Did you find it for me? Oh, there it is there. That's fine. Well, the weather forecast wasn't quite right. We do have some dark cloud around the place, but it's not actually raining, and it's fairly calm. So I'm out here again, and I've replaced the receiver with one that actually has proper antennas that work. And I'm going to use a 2200 milliamp hour battery this time. I was using a 1.3 3S for both yesterday, and it was only half charged. And that last flight there, I might not have showed you in the video, it was getting too dark, but the battery actually just completely died and crashed again. So it's had 3 pretty decent crashes now, but nonetheless it's looking remarkably in shape still. It's mainly just this, which I've reinforced with the hot glue bit of wood on the bottom there, and around here there was like a split, and that's about it. So I'm quite happy with how it can take a beating. Alright, so let me show you the mixers I have on this. These are all running through my S-Bus mixer thing, which needs a new name. I'm not sure what to call that because it's much more than that now, but anyway, so we have pitch and roll. That's just normal, both surfaces on each wing doing the same thing. And then if I switch this on here, I can try left rudder, so it's splitting there, and right rudder there. And I also have air brakes, or crow braking I guess you'd call that. 2 levels of that. And then because the board has a gyro on it, if I turn that switched on, we'll get some gyro activity. Not much, the gains are quite low, but in the first flight yesterday they seem to be about right actually. So that's just gyro. Oh, and that works for yaw as well. Oh. If I turn that on, it works for yaw as well. Like that. And finally we also have auto level. Let me just turn the rudder stuff off. So auto level, not sure how well this is going to work, but you can see that that's roll, auto level, and for pitch and stuff. So let's give all this stuff a try. Okay, so I'm going to switch the gyro stabilization on here. Now I can't really see any vibrations or anything from where I am, but maybe the onboard footage will show flutter. I don't know, it feels good. I think there might be a little bit of flutter and pitch caused by the gyro there. Alright, let's try a little bit more throttle. And I'll switch on my drag brakes, rudder that is, and let's do a little bit of left rudder. What'd that do? A little bit of right rudder. Oh, it's affecting the roll. It's unbalanced effect on roll, isn't it? That's the reason that those control surfaces are different sizes was to try not to do that. So let's do right rudder here, full right rudder. Oh yeah, it is yawing a little bit, but there's also the vertical fins are kind of counteracting it at that point, I think. Alright, let's see what happens when I go up a little bit and then I Switch on my air brakes. Not much. Okay, next level of air brakes, full air brakes. Oh. Air brakes off, wow. So it pitched up a bit when I let go of the air brakes. So I guess they're causing too much of a pitch down. Alright, so the last thing I want to check is my auto level, which I am not too confident in, but let's give it a shot. Okay, so that's auto level, and now I'm in angle mode. And I'm having to keep even more back stick to keep it at the pitch I want, but hey, that's pretty good. That's alright. Now the problem is going to come when we do lots of long, slow turns, because the long, slow turns tend to screw up what the gyro or the accelerometer feels as level. So let's do some long, slow turns like this. But the auto level doesn't seem to be being disturbed by this turning. But yeah, this is pretty good. A bit boring to watch maybe because I'm just turning in circles, but that's the test. See how fast we can go. So at high speed, flutters more. Climbing fairly decently though. It's not too bad actually. So I just wanted to see how this airfoil responds to faster speed. Seems fine. See if I can land. Oh. I was trying to yaw instead of to make it go there. I was trying to use the yaw to bring it a bit more here, but it didn't really seem to work that much. Yeah, I did have my yaw on, so... There's a rabbit. It should have worked. Okay, I've been tweaking a few things, so we should see some improvement now. The first thing I changed was to mechanically trim all of these surfaces so that the bottom of the surface is right about the top of the main part of the wing. And I should have known that this was going to be necessary, but the reason I didn't do it initially, I just had them like straight along with the wing. It's just because I wanted to see how this KFM airfoil would respond like at a perfectly neutral setting. But anyway, that was necessity. And the other thing I've changed is that this is the raw value coming from the gyro there, and sorry, the accelerometer. Well, this is the sensor fused pitch angle, that's what that is. So you can see it's not quite level. And I was not taking into account the fact that this wasn't going to be perfectly level, because I've just stuck my board, I just stuck that on there with double-sided tape, and I just left it like that. But what I should have done was this. So in here we're going to subtract 5.77, because that's, well, it's changed a little there, but it's about 5.77-ish. So anyway, the output from this node's about 0. So this is the angle that it's trying to make as 0. So I'm just calibrating the pitch angle there, and you can see I've given it that name. And that goes off there into the rest of all the other stuff that we've got going on there to control this plane. And this is what the full program for this looks like, by the way. It might seem a little intimidating at first with the number of nodes that are involved, but you'll also notice that some sections of these are just kind of copy and pasted, like that bit there is the same as that bit there. It's just one for roll, one for pitch. And over there we've got each side, each set of elevons are kind of the same thing as well. So you could just copy and paste sections like that once you've made one of them. Well, you could if copy and paste was implemented, but it's not yet. So I've had to do all this manually at this point. So let's go out and try that.
Look at that. Okay, so it's going up a little too much now, but I can trim that out fairly easily. Okay, auto level. There we go, look at that. So it's actually trying to keep the level that I want now, which was like 5 degrees or something. Well, inside the program it's trying to meet 0, but oops, that wasn't so good. Okay, let go of sticks. No, it doesn't level up. Damn it, that's really annoying. Okay, let go sticks. That seemed to level up a bit better. Oh, no. Alright, so let go. No. I mean, it's good enough to get you out of trouble, and it's good enough for a beginner to fly the plane and still feel comfortable. Oh, is it leveling? I think it might be slowly leveling, but I'm going to have to turn here so I can see it still. Okay, let's try left rudder. Oh yeah. And right rudder. Okay, so there's a slight left rudder again. There's a slight turn to each side, which is good. Don't want it to be extreme. Land here. Okay, that was landing in auto level, so I couldn't really flare it up too much. Now comes the main event. So you're going to take these off. These are only just weakly sellotaped on here. And this is the whole point of making this plane, was to get rid of these and see how we go without them. Okay, here we go. No tail fins or no vertical stabilizers. And I'll just put it straight into auto level because that was the most comfortable way to fly. Seems okay. Seems really good actually. Man, there's no problem at all. There you go, it's hands off. Looks pretty stable. Rolling to the right a little bit, I think. But as far as yaw stability goes, it's perfectly fine. What would be nice to know is how much those drag rudders are working, because they should only be responding to changes in, or quick changes in yaw. So maybe I should have put a camera on there so we could see if they're like really doing much. But there's a decent amount of sweep in this wing. It's like 30-degree sweep. So I'd say that the sweep is also doing quite a bit of work to keep the yaw stable. Let's do some low passes. Maybe we can see what the drag rudders are doing, if anything. Not really much to see, is there? Looks cool though. So it's interesting, it seems to be, when I turn, like when I roll to turn, it needs quite a lot of pitch back. But that was the same before. Like, it was the same when the vertical stabilizers were on, so I think whatever we're doing here with the drag rudders, if anything, is pretty much performing the same function as those vertical stabilizers were. Let's see if we can do some yaw now. So I'll go full left rudder. Yeah, there we go. And full right rudder here. Yeah, that's nice. So now when I try and line it up for a landing, let's bring it nose into me here and I'll see if I can just use the rudder a bit to Oh yeah. Couldn't do that too much, but just from what I felt there, it seems like if I was lining this up for a landing, the rudder would be quite useful. Let's try it again. So I'm going to try and keep it pointing exactly at me using the rudder. Oops. Sorry, no. I was prioritizing not hitting the ground there. Let's go over this way a little bit with not so close to the fence. And from about here, I'm just going to try and keep it pointed directly at me, using rudder if I have to. Seems fine. I was barely touching the rudder, so I think what's happening here is that the wind has become so calm that I don't really have to fix any disturbances. Nice. It's pretty nice actually. Using the rudder a bit there, a bit there. Okay, so the rudder works, but it kills the speed quite a bit, as you would expect, being a drag rudder. I think that's acceptable. And maybe, yeah, okay, down a bit there. Oh, that was almost a stall there. But it didn't come on suddenly, which is nice. I felt it coming on, and I had plenty of time to get some more power on. A little bit more rudder to keep it straight at me. Yeah. I should put a plane on this and then connect the output of that to my S-Bus mixer. After all, that is one of the things that it can do. So then all of these inputs that I'm doing would just be taken over by plane's output. And all the mixings that I have don't need to change. Keeping it pointing straight at me. Kind of. It wasn't really pointing at me very well, but I was able to get it to come like straight in front of me much better than I could before when I had the vertical stabilizers on. Man, flies pretty good. It doesn't feel terribly efficient. It's about 855 grams, wingspan's 1.52 meters, and it just doesn't feel very powerful. Other than that, it's quite a lot of fun to fly. The only tricky thing is that when it's off in the distance and you turn it like that and all you can see is this little thin sliver, that can be a bit tricky. Alright, this time I'm going to see what a launch in auto level mode is going to go like. I thought it would go up a little bit more. Looks like just the battery came off there. Those surfaces are way up. It should have been alright. Just not enough speed, I guess. Oh boy. That's weird, eh? Hang on a minute, let me let go of the stick here. Yeah, that's alright. So that's hands off. Roller's off, but pitch is okay. So I guess it was just not enough speed. Right, so this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up nice and high in auto level mode and then just let it glide in auto level and see if it can survive. It shouldn't spin, and if it does spin I'm going to slip on those air brakes. And air brakes, rather than being there to brake the plane, my thinking was that they would be quite useful to stop a spin if that happens. Alright, so right about here I'm going to cut the throttle and it's rolling to the right a little bit. But what I want to see is if this InvenSense DMP sensor fusion is going to be able to just keep it level for a long period of time. I mean close enough to level that it's not going to crash. So the point of this test is to figure out how much we could trust this as a failsafe. So it is unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, circling. It's coming down fairly quickly too, bit quicker than I would have liked. So I'm just going to straighten up the roll a bit myself there to make it come back towards me, hopefully. Still no stall, which is good. It's almost parachuting down there, which... Yeah, okay, so power back on there. Alright, so it didn't fall out of the sky. It managed to maintain its height a bit. It didn't go straight, which is a bummer, but... Oh. Battery alarm's beeping. Yeah, I'm going to have to land, damn it. Yeah, but as something, if you just wanted to take your eyes off the plane for a while, that's perfectly good enough. Okay, well the battery was already begging for mercy, but I wanted to do one more thing, and that was to use the brakes, or that, and do a really short landing, and see how that goes. See that? So I launched that time without the auto level, and it was perfectly fine. So, right about... Okay, brakes are on. I can't really tell if it slowed down much there, but it was easy enough to land still. Yes, I basically turned the brakes on right at the same time I cut the motor there, so it landed like that, but with, of course, mixed with my other controls, like that. Yeah, wow, overall I'm quite pleased with this. I'll definitely have to put an autopilot on, I think. There's a nice little gap in here, which would be perfect size for a Omnibus F4 Pro.